When the world is just too much, turn it off and turn on positive, encouraging K-Love.
I'm gonna praise.
World off. K-Love on.
K-Love is sunshine for my soul.
I love K-Love.
Listen now on your radio, online, or on the free K-Love app.
K-Love makes me feel so good.
Positive, encouraging K-Love.
One of these men is a highly respected New York attorney, Lucas A. Ferrara. The other is a self-proclaimed man of the people, known as Mert Roberts. Their aim is to discuss the hottest issues impacting our city, state, and nation. Fasten your seatbelts. Shake it off with Mert and Lucas. Live starts now on AM 970. The Answer.
Wow, that's really dramatic, Alex. What's that one called?
It's called Hiding from the Zombies by Two Wing Beats.
Hiding from the Zombies. Hilarious. Considering what we're going to talk about next, I bet the DNC wishes it could go into hiding. Now, Mert, late last month, on May 21st, the DNC finally dropped its long-promised, long-delayed, long-fought-over 192-page review of the 2024 election. Some call it an after-action report. Others, like me, call it an autopsy. And some Democrats are calling it something else entirely. How about this, Mert? A total mess. Now, even the guy who released it, DNC Chair Ken Martin, basically said, and here's a quote, "Yeah, this isn't good." Now, his exact words, yep, the judges are a little delayed today. I thought the judges slept well, Alex. What's going on over there on that side?
I'll wake him up a little more.
Yeah, come on. He said on Substack, this is what he wrote, "I'm not proud of this product. It does not meet my standards, and it won't meet your standards." Now, this is the Democratic National Committee, by the way, the DNC. So today, my friends, we're going to walk through the report, the reaction, the data, the demographics, the messaging failures, the rural collapse, and what the polls say about where the Democrats stand heading into 2026. Buckle up. But Mert, I'll give you first dibs. Why would your friends over at the DNC release a report which they themselves think is total garbage? You have that clip, Alex?
I have that clip from Mr. Biden himself.
Yeah, let's hear what he has to say.
Floating island of garbage.
Yeah, that's this report. Come on, Mert, what do you think?
Well, I am thoroughly confused why you seem to think it's a good idea to pick on a man who gave his service, his life, and has dealt with great tragedy to fight for this country. You know, Joe Biden, regardless of what anybody thinks, was a hero in my opinion. You know, this guy, he backed up Obama when Obama needed support the most. This is a great guy. I don't appreciate you playing that clip, Alex. I'm offended by that. I think you should be docked.
Oh my goodness, he's going to report you to HR. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny clip. Of course, that had nothing to do with the report, but it was funny just the same. But Mert, I asked you, where do you stand on the DNC's autopsy report, which they are refusing to stand by? They released a report which you're basically saying is garbage. That was Alex's point.
Well, the thing is, the DNC has an obligation to win. They don't have the obligation to you. They don't have the obligation to me. They have an obligation to win. So if what you're trying to allude to is they're being dishonest, or I don't know what you're alluding to, because I'm kind of confused why you're bringing this up.
Why? Because it's been news. It's been reported. See, now the audience is getting upset. You're upsetting the audience, Bert.
Because
it's been in the news that they issued this autopsy, this after-action report, but they don't stand by it. So my point to you is, why would you even issue a report that you don't stand by? Like, the disclaimers all over it. It's really, really weird. What's the point of it, Mert? They're saying for transparency purposes, but they're disclaiming the report, Mert. So what's the transparency?
Because they're saying we got to release this, but we're not standing by it because we don't feel like it's accurate. But it could
maybe they don't like what it says. Maybe they don't like the analysis that Kamala was a weak candidate, that Biden didn't do the country. Your hero Biden didn't do himself or the country any favors with the alleged mental deterioration that we all saw.
Look, this is the cards they were dealt. I understand why they're not standing by it. They were dealt some difficult cards. Biden. He's a heroic politician, and he was dealing with the crisis mentally. He couldn't keep up mentally, so he had to phase out. So you were dealing with circumstances that you felt like were out of your control. So I'm not going to take the blame for that.
I'm not asking you to take the blame for it. I'm asking
I'm saying if I'm the DNC, I'm not taking the blame for it. I'm going to put the report out as is. This is what I mean by this report isn't accurate, but it is accurate because it's saying one thing, but the reasons why are completely understandable. So we're not even going to pay attention because this is a one-off event. When else are you going to have a presidential candidate who is the president but is running again all of a sudden be mentally unfit to continue to run? That is not a situation.
What do you mean all of a sudden? It was suspected for years, Mert, that the guy was suffering from, the deterioration or degeneration mentally. So that this was not a surprise. I think the shame on the Democratic Party, the DNC, was that they didn't pressure Biden to withdraw earlier or to not seek re-election, so to speak. Now, look, let's go back to 2024, Mert. Now, Biden had a terrible debate. We all remember that. But did you hear what Jill Biden is now claiming about that performance? She just came out with a book. Jill Biden, okay? She now claims, Mert, when she saw her husband's terrible performance during the debate, that she was, quote, frightened. That she had, quote, never seen Joe like that before, end quote, and that she watched him stumble, freeze, lose his train of thought, and she thought, here's the quote, right? Oh my God, he's having a stroke. Okay, but Mert, here's the problem. That's not what she said the night of the debate, not even close. And in fact, immediately after the debate, there was a brief off-air conversation that Jill and Joe had with Jake Tapper and Dana Bash at the moderator's table. That was followed by a post-debate rally at the Hyatt Regency in Atlanta, where Jill Biden was praising her husband about, oh, here's the quote, ready? Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You know all the facts. And she led the crowd in chanting for more years. They then, Mert, that same night, stopped at a local Waffle House, and Biden blamed his hoarse voice on a cold. Then Joe and Jill boarded Air Force One and left Atlanta that very same night. Now, after the debate, Jill told Vogue he wouldn't let those 90 minutes define his presidency, and she insisted to Vogue that he was fine and just had a cold. Now, this is where I'm going to ask you a question, Mert. Now, 2 years later, the story has changed. Not a little bit, Mert, dramatically. And the confident spouse who once said he did well is suddenly the terrified wife who thought that the president was in a medical crisis. Okay, how do you explain this disparity, Mert? Now, look, I think it's revisionist, okay? She's revisionist. And reporters who covered Biden's decline say aides had seen him like that before, okay? So this was not sudden decline. He had been in decline for a while. So what's left? Okay, the message was in 2024.
Are you going to tell me what I
Let me finish.
Are you going to let me answer?
Let me finish.
You just asked me a question.
Let me finish. I'm going to ask you. In 2024, she said, here's the quote, he's sharp, he's strong, he's ready. In 2026, I thought he was having a stroke. Reconcile that for me.
Listen, you're the type of guy who tells kids Santa Claus isn't real. I know you're that guy. I know
Depends
you're that
how
guy.
old they are. It
You're
depends
that
how
guy.
old they are. At some point,
Hey,
they have to hear the truth.
Put your tooth under the pillow and the tooth fairy. You're gonna tell that kid, no, that's your parent giving you $5. Listen, everybody knew what was going on. It would be nonsense for her to come out and say, yes, my husband is no longer fit to be the president of the United States, for her to come out there and say that to the world. It wouldn't make any sense for her to do that.
So why is she doing it now? Why doesn't she shut up? Why does she have to change the whole history of it, where she was saying one thing 2 years ago, and now she's claiming he was near crisis? So near crisis that she took him to all these events, by the way.
You should.
She should. Mert, if you were having a stroke, I would take you to the hospital.
Whoa, hold on a second.
I would not take you to a local Waffle House.
Hold on a second. You're discounting the fact that they have the best doctors around him at all times. And I'll say this.
So you take him to a Waffle House when your husband's having a medical crisis?
I will say this. I'll say this to address your first point. Why would you come out in the moment when you're still trying to compete and win an election?
I'll give you that.
Hold on a second.
So
Hold on a second.
So I'll give you that.
Hold on a second. It makes no sense to weaken yourself as a candidate just in case you can pull off a win, and then you can pass off the office to the next person in charge. You know, you could have kept that thing in the Democrats' control if he was fit enough to just get over the finish line. That's all we needed you to do, Joe, is get over the finish line. And it got so bad that he couldn't do that, which is why they had to change course. So they were trying to get him over the finish line so that they could then say, you know what? It's been a tragedy. His mind has declined so severely, we're going to have to pass this thing off to Miss Harris, and that's how we're going to do it. They didn't get that opportunity because it got so bad. But that's precisely why you don't come out and say, he's no longer fit to run.
Of course they're not going to say it at the time. I'll give you that, okay? Even though it was dishonest in my view that they said he's fit and he's ready to serve when he really wasn't. But put that aside for a second. 2 years later, Mert, why not shut up? Why not shut up? Why say, yeah, he was in bad state. It was so bad, I thought he was having a stroke. What kind of nuts? Alex, come in, because I think Mert is struggling.
Oh,
here.
I think I know. This is perfectly timed for this autopsy release. I mean, I think they're trying to combat this thing because, you know, the Bidens can't look bad in anybody's eyes, so they're trying to defend themselves right now.
Well, wait a minute. Is she selling a book or something?
Why didn't she shut up? Yes, she's selling a book, her book.
Okay,
why doesn't she shut up, Alex?
That's marketing. Hold on a second. Because you're not about to try to blow me off because I got you. I got you now. And now you're trying to run Alex. But no, I got you by the tail on this one. She's trying to sell a book. So you don't sell a book by you don't continue the lie in your words, not mine. You don't continue the lie that everybody already heard. You give them something new so that people want to check your book out. And
So
I'm pretty sure.
So basically,
I'm pretty sure
you come off as a dishonorable, despicable human being, in my view.
That's false.
That
That's
exploited,
false. Wait a minute.
which is something we've talked about before, that people were saying that Jill Biden was exploiting her husband. I think we talked about this on another show, and this only reinforces that. To say your husband had a stroke, but then show him off at all these events while the guy's having a medical crisis makes no sense whatsoever, other than to make you look like a despicable spouse.
Joe could have been exploiting his wife for all we know. He could have picked her because he knew she was professional and she'd be willing to lie and go to the grave with these secrets. But I'm pretty sure Joe Biden said, you know what, honey? I want to see this book do well. Go ahead and tell them what really took place. Everybody's already saying it anyway. You no longer have to carry this burden for me. So I think Joe Biden was exploiting the beautiful nature of Jill Biden because that's a real great wife right there to stick and stand.
No, it's actually
her
interesting
man.
Mert saying this because he did crash the 90-second Why book event with her and asked her something like that, actually.
You know what? It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous to say, okay, now he was incompetent. He was an incompetent president, didn't have the mental capacity.
It's one
to
one
serve
of
as
the
president.
greatest.
That brings his
one of
whole
the greatest
administration
things you can
into
do
question. Alex,
for your
why would you
spouse.
want to bring your legacy into question?
Well, hold on a second.
No sense to have this
what you're
cloud
trying to do right
when
now,
people. But no,
you're
Alex,
gonna hear
listen,
this.
Mert. When people
No, you gotta
suspect it,
listen real quick. Listen
people
real quick,
suspecting
because
is one thing. People suspecting is one thing. But to now say, yeah, I was out of it. I was loopy. That puts a cloud on your legacy, a cloud on your administration, and only a fool would allow that to happen. Go ahead.
No, see, what you're doing is you're trying to act like this is some big scandal. It's not a big scandal.
It is.
It is a big
happens
scandal.
all
I
the-
agree
no,
with Lucas
No, it's
on
not.
that.
It's not a big scandal. This
Because
stuff
were you
happens all the
lying
time.
to the American
It-
people? Were you lying to the
I wish
American
you
people
had.
then?
I wish you had.
Or are you
this
lying
energy
to the
for
American
Mitch
people
McConnell.
now?
You have this same energy for Mitch McConnell because he's going through the same thing right now. They might have just got him out of there, but this guy's falling over in front of people.
We're
and I
not
don't
talking
see you
about
have
Mitch
that same-
McConnell, the poor guy.
I'm talking
He
about,
should have
I'm
retired.
talking about him.
The guy
'Cause
should
it's the
retire.
same situation. Hold on a second. You might not be talking about him, but I'm intelligent and I can make correlations and I can bring in people from the Republican side who are going through the same type of things.
It's
and
not
Mitch McConnell
the same thing.
fits.
Mitch
It
McConnell's
fits.
not the president of the United States. I hate to break it to you.
Why is he in any position of power and he can't even
Well,
stand
they
up
say
straight,
that about a
and
lot of
he's
the older
incoherent?
Democrats. A lot of the older Democrats in the Senate have to be
So
wheeled out.
It's
They barely
something that.
okay.
Wait a minute a second. It's something that they deal with because these people keep getting elected by the people. Understand that as well.
Because
They
know what?
keep getting elected.
Incumbents usually have an easier time getting reelected. That is another issue. Can we go back to this report? This report doesn't mention Biden's incompetency. That's the interesting part. Everything is a lie, Alex. Everything, including now Jill Biden saying what happened in 2024, that was all deception. Really? Shame on you for really trying to pull this up, for pulling wool over our eyes then, and now telling us you were lying. This is ridiculous. It is stupid. It is the dumbest thing that I've ever.
And it won't help her sell the book. And I understand where you're coming from because now you're basically saying elder abuse was committed. If you think about that too, but that's another topic for another day. I think you're right. I think to try and do this. And the Democrats are in the midterm elections. It doesn't make anybody want to vote for these guys if everybody covers for each other. It just is dumb timing.
Well, I know you lost when you go to Alex to help you and get your back.
I go to Alex because he's the voice of reason, unlike you.
No. You've lost this one because you're trying to sit there and act like you really sensitive. How could she betray us? She was doing what was necessary. They still had to win an election. It didn't work out. But you don't go in there and destroy the entire plan and go out there and reveal the biggest weakness to your campaign.
I think they
our
should have had a
candidate
little
is actually
class.
unfit.
They should
He's
have had a
actually
little
having
class.
an issue.
She should have had a little
we don't
class
have
and
time
shut
for
up.
that. Not
She
when you're
should have
going
shut up.
Not when you're going against somebody like Donald Trump, who is willing to go outside of the realm of class,
Well,
and
the
he's
report
willing to launch
addresses that.
personal attacks.
We don't have enough time to talk about the report, but basically she disconnected. Your friend Kamala disconnected. She didn't care about rural voters, and she alienated black, Latino, young black men also.
What does that got to do
alienated
with
voters.
Biden in this situation? Now you're bringing that in here. I was like,
Because that's in the report. So we don't have time to talk about it because we've run out of time. The report's flawed. It's incomplete. It's disowned by its chair. It's missing key sections. But the problem it highlights, rural collapse, demographic slippage, economic anxiety, unclear messaging are real. And that was the problem. Parties lose when they stopped adopting, and coalitions crack when voters feel unseen. And the midterms of 2026 will be the real test of whether Democrats can be rebuilt or whether this infighting, this crazy infighting continues. Now, while you ponder that, I'm pleased to announce that you're listening to Shake It Off with Merton Lucas Live, and we're truly honored to have you along with us with us for the ride. Newsflash, this is episode 100. Thank you. This is Lucas Ferrara, and we're ever mindful that without you, we are nothing. We've made it to 100, Mert, and the man who's responsible for getting us to 100, none other than the man of the people, Mert Roberts. Thank you, Mert. Also, we've got our producer-engineer, Alex Garrett. He's got a great 5-star rated podcast, One Leg Up with Alex Garrett. Check it out. And, everybody behind the scenes at AM 970, thank you. We have special guests for you in store when we come back. Danny the Count Koker, the star of the hit series Counting Cards, will be on our show. Looking forward to that. So don't you dare drift. Don't you even blink. Shake it off with Mert, Alex, and all of us here at AM 970. We'll be back after these messages. Now, after the break, Danny the Count Koker rolls in. And trust me, when the Count shows up, the horsepower goes up. Born on America's darkest day of September 11th, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping America's heroes ever since. Heroes like NYPD officer Pedro Garcia, a 25-year veteran who answered the call in the aftermath of 9/11. Pedro spent many days in the search and recovery efforts at Ground Zero. He bravely battled a 9/11-related illness that ultimately took his life. He is survived by his loving wife, Yvonne, and their children, who remember him as a man who cared deeply for others and always had a story to tell. The Tunnels to Towers Foundation honored Pedro by paying off his family's mortgage through their Fallen First Responder Home program. Please help more families like the Garcia family. Your donation today brings hope and stability to those who gave everything in service to our communities and our country. Donate $11 a month. Go to T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to NewmanFerrara.com. That's NewmanFerrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate, on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate. Hey, Joe on the radio telling you about Patriots Pasta and Piscopo featuring yours truly. Oh, we're going to have a great time at Carmine's in the private room called the Sinatra Room. Doesn't get more old school New York than that. We'll be doing some great Frank Sinatra tunes. And also I'm bringing in some special talent as well. Some gals that I usually go out with that I'm going to highlight. Like, you're going to not believe how talented they are. And again, Christopher Macchio will not be there. Just so you know, he is going to serve his country well. President Trump has requested that Christopher is down at an event that same time, but we're going to go on with a great show and we're going to have a blast at Patriots Pasta and Piscopo. Portions of the proceeds, by the way, will support the Equal First Aid charity courtesy of Life Vac. Now you can text CELEBRATE to 94878 or go to am970theanswer.com and click the banner for tickets. That's am970theanswer.com for tickets to Patriots Pasta and Piscopo.
When the storm hits or when your trees need serious care, you call O'Sullivan Tree Care. O'Sullivan Tree Care is a fully licensed and insured family-owned company, proudly serving Rockland County, Westchester County, and New Jersey. Their experienced team handles it all: tree removals, precision pruning, stump grinding, crane work, and emergency storm cleanup. Fast, safe, and professional. When severe weather strikes, O'Sullivan Tree Care responds when it matters most, clearing dangerous trees, restoring access, and protecting homes and properties. They also supply high-quality mulch and screen topsoil available for pickup or delivery. You call, they haul. What sets O'Sullivan Tree Care apart is reliability under pressure. When others step back, their crew steps forward. Experienced, equipped, and ready to work in the toughest conditions. So whether you're dealing with storm damage, downed trees, or routine property maintenance, make the call to the team you can trust. O'Sullivan Tree Care, 845-359-8733. That's 845-359-8733. O'Sullivan Tree Care, where quality meets reliability and the job gets done right.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
That's a weird one. What is the name of that one, Alex?
All right, this is called Drive On by Reversed Image.
My friends, are you ready for some TV royalty? Danny the Count Koker is the larger-than-life force behind the History Channel series Counting Cars, where his obsession with classic machines and custom bills has turned Count's Customs into one of the most recognizable shops in all of America. A self-taught mechanic and builder, Koker grew up around engines, music, and the Vegas hustle, and he parlayed that mix into a full-blown brand, from restoring vintage muscle to fronting his hard rock band Counts 77. Before launching his own show, he became a fan favorite on Pawn Stars, where his deep knowledge of cars, bikes, and oddball Americana made him the go-to expert. Today, he's part craftsman, part entertainer, and all personality. A guy who can spot a great ride from a mile away and turn it into something unforgettable. Welcome to the program, Count.
I tell you what, I'm looking around the room like, where is this guy, man? That's the intro. Thank you.
A little humility. A little humility.
Let me say this too, gentlemen, to Alex, Mert, and Lucas. Congrats, you guys, on 100 episodes, and what an honor it is to be a part of it. Thank you for letting me be here.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to join us. And since it's our 100th episode, Count, my co-host Mert Roberts is going to start off with a question.
Well, just beware of Lucas, because he'll try to be an attorney for you and speak for you sometimes. But I won't let him do that. He likes to do that, speak for people. So just forgive him if he does that too. But the first question I'd like to ask you is, how do you spot a car that is valuable? Because I walk around all the time and I see these old cars from the 70s and the 80s or maybe the 60s, and I think, if I just had the talent to restore that, would it be worth anything, or would I just have a car that's old, that's going to take a lot of work to maintain, and I can drive it around, but it has no real value? So what goes into determining the value of a old car?
In all honesty, the only reason that I believe that I've got an ability to do things like that is because it's just been my entire life. I mean, I'm that guy that knows how to stay in his own lane. So it's like if I had to do somebody's accounting for a living, we'd all be broke. But I grew up around cars and motorcycles my entire life. And so for me, it's just kind of like second nature. It's like it's like somebody that really knows about cooking, or somebody that really knows about fashion or whatever like that. For me, it's just something that I grew up in. So when I look at vehicles and I see vehicles, my head's always turning. And for me, there's always a struggle of, there are certain vehicles that I love just because I think they're cool, and they might not be worth a dime. And then there's other vehicles that I know are valuable vehicles, and they're worth putting money into, and they're worth restoring because of their resale value and things like that. So it's always a toss-up for me, but it's only because I've been doing it my whole life.
Now, let me ask you another question. So does the value get determined based on how good of a job you do in restoring it, or is it the actual car? Because I remember Pimp My Ride with Exhibit. Remember that show where they used to put fish bowls and stuff in the cars, and then you find out years later that totally just cratered the value of the car. The car was worthless after they made all these upgrades to it, and I thought it was an upgrade putting this stuff in it. So does the quality of the restoration improve the value, or is it the car getting it to function, putting the polish on it, making it look brand new? Is that what determines it?
Yeah, it's in all honesty, it's both in different ways. So, like, say for instance, you referred to restoring a car, and for me, there's a huge difference between restoring a car and customizing a car, fixing a car up. Restoration is difficult because you've got to make it like it was when it came from the factory. And there are certain vehicles that, in my humble opinion, should be restored and not customized. And, just off the top of my head, something that we're all familiar with, take a 1963 Corvette coupe. It's the split window Corvette. It's the only year that had the split window. It was the first year of the C2 body style. In my humble opinion, a 63 Corvette should be restored, even though there are some gorgeous customized ones. So there's that factor to start off with. Now, the execution, of course, is very critical. When you either restore a car or customize a car, for instance, you've got all kinds of elements that have to come together properly to make the job good. And when I look at a vehicle, I look at execution. I look at body gaps. I look at body lines. I look at all of the things that can make this car just got restored and or built, and the one parked right next to it just got restored and or built. Why is this one so much better than that one? And so it does get down to execution. Did they build it properly? Has the body been done properly? The chassis properly? There's so many elements involved in either customizing or restoring a car properly. I loved your reference about the fishbowl and stuff. I used to laugh about that too. It makes for great TV. I'll tell you that. Right. It makes for a great fun TV show, and I love Exhibit. He's a cool cat. But in the long run, when it comes to resale, I don't know a lot of people looking for a fishbowl in their Escalade.
Absolutely. And one final question before Lucas goes.
Sure.
This might be out of left field, but what is it with car guys and tattoos? Because the car guys and the tattoos is before anything. I see everybody with tattoos now, but that was really a thing with the bikers and the guys with the cigarette hanging out his mouth, fixing everybody's car. They'd be tatted up. What is up with y'all set a trend that everybody's following now?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I've been riding motorcycles since I was, good Lord, 8 years old, and I'm a huge biker. I'm into that, and of course the cars, the hot rods, the muscle cars, the custom cars. I'm all into that. For me, it gets down to artistic expression. When you look at this group of people, the bikers. Man, they're into their bikes, and they build their bikes to make a statement. They want people to look at them. They want people to hear them. They want people to feel that thing. So they have this expression inside of their souls that they want to express, and they do it with their motorcycles, or they do it with their hot rods, they do it with their muscle cars. To me, it's the same thing with tattoos. It just comes from your heart, and it comes from an artistic expression. As a guy who has plenty of ink myself, and I've even got a tattoo shop in Vegas. So if you want your car built, your bike built, or you want to get some ink, come see me.
And the thing that's interesting is, if you really think about it, the reason that y'all can get these tattoos is because y'all have real skills that I don't care what you look like. If you need this car restored or you need a bike built, you got to go to Crazy Joe with the 500 tattoos on his face, because nobody can do it better. He's going to be the ultimate.
Exactly. I mean, there was a time that that ink on your skin, could have been looked down upon in certain circles back in the day. But anymore these days, you'd be surprised who's hiding some ink somewhere on their body.
Hey, Count, what's the biggest mistake people make when they think they can restore a car themselves? We have 2 minutes before our next commercial break, but what is the biggest mistake that amateurs make, in your opinion?
Wow. Man, there are so many. Oh my Lord, there are so many things. I'll go back to my original statement about I'm a guy that knows how to stay in his lane. So there are people that make that mistake, and they think they can do so. It's not easy. It is not easy to customize, build a car, especially if you're doing it from the ground up. I love the backyard mechanic. I think it is absolutely awesome for people to be motivated to pick up wrenches and screwdrivers and get under the hood and work on it themselves and do everything they can. But there comes a time, and this is for everybody. I mean, my shop is capable of doing absolutely anything and everything. But there's a time when you've got to realize that you need to reach out for some help from somebody else who may be more experienced at maybe one particular thing than you are. So I think the biggest mistake is thinking you can do anything and everything without anybody. And the bottom line is we all need each other. It's a team.
Amen.
So if you're doing it yourself, my hat's off to you. I love it. But there's going to come a time, reach out for some help, man. And that's
And
one
you
of the
know
things
what,
I
Count?
also love about cars and bikes. It brings people together.
They should reach out to you, Count, because we have to take a quick commercial break. But folks, have no fear. When we return, Danny the Count Koker will rejoin us. For more about the Count and his work, visit countscustoms.com. That's Counts, Kustoms.com. In the meantime, Mert, Alex, and I certainly hope you'll stay right where you are. Don't go anywhere. Danny the Count Koker joins us right after the break. And listen, if you wander off, he might just repo your car, rebuild it, and sell it back to you at auction. Stay put. It's just safer for everyone that way.
Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
We love bringing you products that improve your life. Well, this product can save your life. There are approximately 5,000 choking deaths in the U.S. each year. One child dies every 5 days from choking. Did you know older adults are at an increased risk of choking? Yes. And lodged food is the main cause. Ever pop small, bite-sized foods in your mouth like peanuts, grapes, or popcorn? Those foods that people eat by the handful can get overloaded in the mouth, which can cause a choking episode. LifeVac is a simple rescue device that can change a life in a choking emergency. It's non-invasive and easy to use, and one kit fits the whole family. If you have a young child in your family or a senior relative living alone, I strongly recommend you visit the LifeVac website today at lifevac.net. View the videos demonstrating its ease of use. LifeVac works in 3 simple steps: place, push, and pull. The LifeVac device dislodges the obstruction and suctions out the food or object. It's that simple. And it can be self-administered. LifeVac.net, made in the USA and FDA registered.
Hey, Joe on the radio telling you about Patriots Pasta and Piscopo featuring yours truly. We're going to have a great time at Carmine's in the private room called the Sinatra Room. Doesn't get more old school New York than that. We'll be doing some great Frank Sinatra tunes. And also I'm bringing in some special talent as well. Some gals that I usually go out with that I'm going to highlight. Like, you're going to not believe how talented they are. And again, Christopher Macchio will not be there, just so you know. He is going to serve his country well. President Trump has requested that Christopher is down at an event that's same time, but we're going to go on with a great show and we're going to have a blast at Patriots Pasta and Piscopo. Portions of the proceeds, by the way, will support the Equal First Aid charity courtesy of LifeVac. Now you can text CELEBRATE to 94878 or go to am970theanswer.com and click the banner for tickets. That's am970theanswer.com for tickets to Patriots Pasta and Piscopo. Hey, it's Joe Piscopo on the radio. Everybody's worried about different things, like inflation, right? They talk about inflation. Oh, I like the economists now throwing around the new word stagflation. Sounds like something you'd find in a zoo, right? And then one of my friends said, what about the 1970s? Remember the 1970s, bell bottoms, disco, skyrocketing oil prices, inflation was out of control. Fed was hiking interest rates, and then wham, the stock market dropped 50%, spend a decade trying to find its way back. Well, you know what did party read down in the 1970s? Gold up 500%, silver up twice that. That ain't so bad. So here's the thing. If you're worried, today's environment may look awfully familiar, but just to be safe, give my friends at Landmark Capital a call. They're good people, and they know their stuff. Reach out at 844-604-2575, all right? 844-604-2575, or visit landmarkgold.com.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
We are back, and so is Danny the Count Koker, the man who can spot a great car faster than most of us can spot our own keys. If you love engines, attitude, and a little Vegas voltage, you're in the right place. Danny is the powerhouse behind the hit series Counting Cars, and the owner of Counts Customs. That's Customs with a K, the Las Vegas shop known for turning classic machines into rolling art. He's a self-taught builder, musician, and fan favorite from that great show, Pawn Stars. He's become one of the most recognizable faces in custom car culture. For more about the Count and his work, visit CountCustoms.com. That's Counts Customs with a K.com. We'll also have the link posted on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Now, Count, our producer engineer, Alex Garrett, wants to say hello and ask you a question. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, we're so honored to have you tonight, Danny. But I have to ask you this. When people see classic cars on the road, do you feel like they appreciate the work that went into restoring them, or do they just say, wow, this is a great car? Like, what do you feel like? Do people appreciate the work you guys do to restore these cars?
Yes, some people do. That's a really good question. So, as the general public sees a beautiful car going on the road, and they're like oohing and ahhing, and they think it's really cool. But then there's the nut job weirdos like myself who just stare at it and pick it apart, not in a bad way, but in a way of look how well the chrome has been restored. As a guy who's in the industry, doing good chrome it's a lost art. So when I look at something, I'm like, wow, that chrome's beautiful. Or I'll look at this over here and I'll be like, man, the body lines on that thing are so sharp. This thing spent a lot of time getting massaged in the body shop before they lay down, paint on it. So, for most people, the flash and the ooh and ah of wow, look at that gorgeous car. That's almost everybody can appreciate a beautiful old school classic car. But then there's the nut jobs like me who just study it and can determine, is this a really good classic car, or is this just something that's pretty and flashy and looks good going down the road? There's definitely a difference.
All right, I'm sure some of these restore jobs take hours. So what's the longest job you had to restore a car?
Oh, brother, there's times where we'll build a car and it's 4 or 5 years of building a car. It just really depends. There's things where cars, a vehicle, you can find a vehicle that's a cool car and it's a nice car and its bones are great, everything's rock solid on it. Now let's just make it cooler, let's make it prettier, let's make it nicer, let's add some flair and some vibe to it. Things like that can be turned around in a matter of months. You'll get other projects where this is a full custom build, where it's a full custom chassis, full custom suspension, full custom brakes, engine, trans, electronics. Then you start getting into the body, and there could be all kinds of metal fabrication going on for that. And then you get into the engine. Something like this could take years. It depends on what you're starting with and what's the end game, what's the finishing goal on it. So there's so many variables. You could be looking at months, you could be looking at years.
Hey, Count, now you've built for celebrities.
Turn it around. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you built for celebrities, you built for collectors and everyday folks. Who surprises you the most, or has surprised you the most?
Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you what. Wow, that's a great question. So, when I think about the celebrity aspect of it, there are a few that come to mind. I think of Alice Cooper right off the top of my head. You want to talk about one of the nicest, coolest, most generous gentlemen that I believe I have ever met, be it in the celebrity world or just be it in day-to-day life. Alice Cooper, one of the coolest cats on the planet. Wow. Yeah, without a doubt. We also and I did a '63 Avanti for him that he uses as a semi-daily driver. I've got a gentleman, a 4-star general, retired 4-star general, Peter Pace. Did a '67 Corvette for him. Talk about an incredible man, and we've become friends over the years. Can't say enough nice things about him. Man, Barry White's family. I found Barry White. He passed away years ago, but he used to drive a Stutz 4-port, and his wife Glodine. Man, she's incredible. She was the lead singer of the group that Barry produced, Love Unlimited, and she's actually a Harley gal. She rides. And
did she have them long nails? Did you see had them long nails?
I know, exactly. She got them long. I was just thinking about that. She got them long nails, but the girl rides. And her and I became friends over the years, and she was looking for Barry's old Stutz, and I found the car, got it back to the family, restored it. That was another wonderful thing for that entire family. There's so many. Michael Madsen, God bless him, he passed away, but Michael Madsen, he was such a cool cat. We did a Mustang for his family. It just... I don't know, it's just been a blessing to be able to meet and work with some of these people. Here's another one who was never on Counting Cars, but it was long before I ever did any television. It was back in the early days of Counts Customs. Was in every magazine, every biker magazine, and I was at every bike show. But built a custom chopper for Ozzy Osbourne 100 years ago.
Wow!
And let me tell you, that's a man that I absolutely love. Sure, Ozzy was crazy. Ozzy was fun. Ozzy was out of his mind. But that's a beautiful human being. Talk about a beautiful heart, a beautiful soul, a giving man. Just love and respect for so many of these people that I've been blessed to be able to shake hands with and meet over the years.
Well, so now I have a question, because now I'm thinking about what does the count mean? Because Alice Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne, are you some kind of vampire or something like that? Or counting? You in Vegas? You could be counting cars.
Right.
Like what's this name? What is the count? What is that supposed to mean?
Right. That's a great question. Here's a true story, man. This is hilarious. So, back in 1989. I started to do a television show in Las Vegas, a late night, every Saturday night horror show called Saturday Fright at the Movies with your host, Count Cool Rider. And I played a vampire that loved Elvis and was a biker and lived in Vegas. And I used to show crazy horror movies on every Saturday night, and I'd have on crazy guests. And we go around town and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I did that television show for 10 years here in Las Vegas. And then during that period of time, I've always been a car and bike guy. So behind the scenes, I had a small hobby shop where I was wrenching on stuff. And I had a few of my buddies, and we were wrenching on stuff. And so behind the scenes, we were building a couple hot rods, building a couple bikes, whatever like that. And people used to say, I'd go out riding one of my choppers, and people be like, "Man, where'd you get that? Who did that? Who did that?" And I started thinking to myself, well, maybe we should just turn this little hobby shop and get a business license and actually, start doing some stuff for people. So myself and my handful of guys at the time, we opened the shop up, and we thought it's a small Vegas bike hot rod shop. What should we call it? Well, we decided to call it Counts Customs because everybody in Las Vegas knew that vampire from Saturday night. Everybody knew Count Cool. So it was like, well, let's just call it Counts Customs. We'll tie it in that, and it'll be a local hot rod biker shop. Well, who knew years later it was going to be around the world? So on a comedic level, I get asked that question, and literally around the country and around the world, I tell people, well, it's because I'm an Elvis-loving vampire.
Wow, that was a great question, Merton. That was a great question. Hey, Danny, tell us about Count 77. What's up with Count 77?
Well, I as a young man, I grew up in music. So my father, who was retired military, he was 10 Special Forces, Green Beret, 101st Airborne, the real deal, one of the originals. He was a musician as well. He got out of the service, and that's what he did. He was a musician, and he was a gospel music singer, composer, arranger. Worked with everybody on the planet, and so growing up as a kid, I was always around music. And when I got old enough as a kid, my father got me involved in music, and I too was a gospel singer. Used to do a lot of Southern gospel, did a lot of black gospel out of Detroit, Cleveland, things like that. It was what I grew up with, and I've always loved music, and I've been a singer since I was a young kid. Now, you fast forward, life gets in the way, you get busy, you're doing stuff, and you step away from maybe something that you love. And then, the Lord called my father home in 2008, and I basically kind of stepped off from music for a while. Years go by through friends and myself being insane. I opened up a rock club in Las Vegas called Counts Vamp, and we start doing a lot of live rock and roll music. And some folks that would come and play on my stage on a regular basis found out that I used to do music, and they got me up on stage one night, and we started doing some music together, and it all felt so good. So, coming out of that, believe it or not, 5 out of 6 of the guys that were on that night, where we all jammed out that night, we've all been together now for 15 years. We put this band together. It's called Count 77. It is a hard rock band. It is deeply rooted in the music of the 70s, because that's what we all kind of grew up in. We've got 2 original records. We're working on our 3rd. We've been doing this for 15 years together. We tour all over the country. You come to a Count 77 show, you're going to get new music that sounds like the hard rock of the 70s, and you're going to get some of your big old 70s favorites. It is one of the greatest things in my life, because when I get on stage with my brothers and we rock, there's at least a moment on that stage where I'm with my dad again. So it's just, Count 77 is extremely important to me. It's not one of those things of, oh, this guy's got a TV show, now he thinks he can sing. No, in all honesty, it's the other way around. I grew up singing. I was a musician my whole life, and now God has blessed me where I get to do it again, and I'm so thankful.
Danny, the Count Koker, believe it or not, we only have a minute left. Can people come out and visit you in Vegas? I hear you have a museum, is that right?
Absolutely. Counts Customs is right here in Vegas. We are literally a block off the Strip. You come by. It's 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a free tour. That's right, free tour. Just come on in, hang out, look at the cars, walk around, enjoy yourself, and feel the love in my building, man. I'm about music, motorcycles, cars, and God's love, baby. That's where it's at.
Amen to that, my friend. And before you go, what's next? What's up next for you? Any insights?
Yes. Check out our new podcast, Counts Culture. Culture is spelled with a K, just like customs with a K. Look up Counts Culture on the podcast. We just started this, working with ITV, the production company that did Counting Cars Forever. It's brand new, and it is hitting the world by storm. Enjoy it, please.
We wish you the best of luck with that. My friend, we've run out of time. For more about the Count and his work, visit Counts Customs. That's Customs with a K. We'll also have the link posted on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Thanks so much for coming on our 100th show, Count. It was a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you for having me. Here's to the next 100. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Bless you too, my friend. Next up, Nick Kessler and Brian Fulmer, the duo behind Road Trip Masters, the travel series that turns America back roads into front roads stories.
Lucas, are you a car guy before we go to break? Are you a car guy?
Me? No, they've walked thousands of miles uncovering the diners, small towns, characters, and hidden gems. Most of them must blow past at 70 miles an hour. I lived in New York City for most of my life. Who has a car? So it's imperative you come back after the news at the top of the hour. Suffer through for a few commercial messages. But once that's all done, Mert, Alex, I, and along with the rest of the AM 970 team, will be reading right here for you. A special shout out to our dear friends and listeners who've been with us. Mrs. Rosalind Brown, we love you. Rosalind Brown, we love you.
Get it
M.D.
right.
Roberts. Did I get it right? M.D.
Get it right.
Roberts. Attorney Marcus Lee, thank you. Dr. Meredith Weiss, thank you. And these are just some of our listeners and friends. And if you will listen to the show and want a shout out, send us an email. We'll gladly drop your name at a future show. Okay. Please come back for hour 2 of Shake It Off with Bert and Lucas Live. Lots more controversy and maybe some answers await. Next up, the guys from Road Trip Masters. The only duo who can turn a wrong turn into a full episode. Stick around. They've got stories, miles, and probably a diner recommendation you didn't know you needed.
The preceding hour of programming sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.
When the world is just too much, turn it off and turn on positive, encouraging K-Love.
I'm gonna praise.
World off. K-Love on.
K-Love is sunshine for my soul.
I love K-Love.
Listen now on your radio, online, or on the free K-Love app.
K-Love makes me feel so good.
Positive, encouraging